guys, welcome to another video. So recently we returned to the Uravan area where all the uranium mines are and just decided to have a little bit more of a look around. We actually went up above where the old mill used to be. What you're looking at here is what's known as a containment cell. So most of the contents of Uravan, the old town itself, all of the old buildings, and the old processing mill and a lot of the mining equipment and everything is buried under this containment cell. And there are several of these around the west. There's one near Mexican Hat as well in southern Utah. But just a quick note on this one, there are signs outside and around the fence that say that no drones are allowed in that area. I made sure to keep my drone outside of the fence line so that we technically weren't breaking any rules. So that's why I only have distant shots and nothing flying over. So we had been in southern Utah for a couple days and came in from Monticello up the 141 into Natarita. And we decided to check out the star number 13 mine first because it's right next to the trail on top of the rim. It was getting to be later in the day, so we decided to check this out real quick and get some footage here and show you what the inside looks like before we set up camp for the night. And here we are up on the hill at the campsite that we decided to stop at. So when we parked here, we had zero clue as we were setting up camp that we were actually parked on top of a mine. And this mine, I did find it on a mine mapping site, and I actually found a map for it. Here's a picture of it now. And the approximate location about where we were camped at. And of course, this was an old uranium mine. And we discovered that we were actually parked right on top of the mine. You can see us up on top here. And all these rocks that are kind of just loosely pushed back into this area are actually there to try and prevent people from going inside. There are a couple places where you can actually see inside. There's a hole there just on the left side of the screen. And it's basically like a big room underneath there. So we were parked on top of a big room. And there were a bunch of large rocks on the floor inside the mine. You can see the big cracks that are forming. A bunch of stuff was slabbing off of the ceiling and falling down in there. Here's a picture of what it looks like with a flashlight shining down in there. So yeah, a little creepy being parked up on top of what was essentially a hollow hillside there. Surely made us a little uneasy, but not enough for us to move to a different location. So now if you look over there on the other side, that's where the old processing mill used to be for Uravan. And down below us is where the town used to be. Now this is the next morning after we got up and started going down the Rimrocker Trail. You might remember this mine. I flew the drone up here and was looking at this gated area, and I was actually kind of confused what it was at first. But as we started going through some of the other mines in the area, we realized that each one of them actually had a gated spot like this, and we actually determined that it was where the electricity was coming in. It was high voltage, so they had gates around it to keep people from getting electrocuted. Now, as far as I can tell, I think on minedat.org there's a location marker for the star number 3 mine, and I think this is the one that we're looking at here. I don't know if that is an entrance right there or if it's buried. For some reason, they've got this fencing kind of bolted to the rock here, and it's bolted to a bigger rock down below, like they're trying to keep the rock from sliding down the hill or something. But you can see all of the waste rock here just falling over the edge. Couldn't find an entrance, so they more than likely buried it. Now, on the side of this canyon, there are a bunch of holes in the south side of the canyon. And from what I can tell, based on minedat.org location marker, this is the star number 5 mine. I don't know if all of the holes I'm getting ready to show you are all part of the star number 5. You can see the 2 main entrances here. They definitely piled up rocks and dirt to try and keep people out. Although it looks like it's eroded away enough that if you are crazy, you could probably squeeze your way in there. This one right here looks like it was just a little prospect. It doesn't go in very far. And I want to apologize for the glare on the camera. It was kind of mid-morning and it's later in the year, so the sun is low in the sky and it was causing issues with glare on the camera. And this one I think went probably around the left side, the back left of that big rock right there. But I couldn't really get the drone in close enough. The proximity sensors were freaking out, so that's about as close as I could get. And just kind of going along the side here, looking to see if I could find anything else. Yeah, there were prospects and holes and all kinds of stuff all down the side of this. I don't know if this one goes back into the left either. And here's another one. If this one really goes in very far, it looks like maybe it just kind of stops right there on the back wall, you can see. And here's a couple more holes. Hard to tell if that top one goes in any further. It was hard to get the drone in there. Didn't want to get too close to the rock because I didn't want to lose a drone, because at the time of this filming, I was controlling it from at least a quarter mile away. It might have been more like half a mile. We were on the other side of the canyon, so I didn't want to have to drive all the way back over there and climb down and recover a drone. There's a pile of wood outside of this one. I think this might be one of the main entrances, considering all of the wood sitting out front and the cable there on the right-hand side. We'll pause it right here and see if we can see in any further. I'll go ahead and brighten up the image. And here's what looks to be another prospect. Not really much going on there. Goes in a little ways and stops. So here's where we were controlling the drone from, on the other side of the canyon, and this was also at another mine. Now, I couldn't really find information on these. These mines might be called the Austin Mine or the Big Mitt Mine. They were right next to each other, and I couldn't really find any more information online, so that's all the information I have. No maps or anything. I think the entrance to this mine used to be right here. And then as far as the entrance goes for the other mine, it could be anywhere over here. I don't see any telltale signs about where it could have been. There's no real area that looks like it could have had an entrance. Everything's kind of just been bulldozed over. When they decided to shut down this area and get out of here, they made a lot of these mines very flat because they came in with some bulldozers and bulldozed everything over. And this looks like an old area where they would dump ore carts. And looking back towards the vehicles. So here's one that I think is part of the Club No.2 Mine. If you're not sure which one that is, we'll show it here in a second. But also, in my previous video, I said that I forgot to grab one that was around the corner, and this would be it. So I wanted to make sure, since I was there again, that I got some footage of this one, and it's got a nice wood entrance here, and we will pause it for a second to see if we can see in any further. And here's the rail coming out front, which you can tell how much of the ground there has washed away in the last 50 or 60 years, because the rail's just kind of hanging. And then I couldn't really tell if this was another entrance right here, because this would go into the backside of the Club No.2 Mine. But I couldn't get too close because it was kind of around a corner and I didn't want the drone to lose signal. So that's as close as I got. But here's a good look at it from afar. And then this is the Club No.2 Mine. You'll remember this one has the large orange door. But if you watched my last video, you will have remembered that I said I forgot to record the main entrance to the mine because it was kind of hiding behind the rock from my perspective. But here you can see it now. That big rock has fallen down and crushed a good portion of the main entrance, but you can still see that it is accessible. And then here's the big orange door. Now, like I said, I don't think this was an entrance to the mine. I think this was maybe dynamite storage or a place for the workers to take their breaks and get out of the sun, out of the heat. It looks like it has some sort of foam spray on the outside. Went down the waste rock pile here a little bit just to look and see if I could see anything interesting. It looks like there's some old wire bundles down there at the bottom and a bunch of wood. Nothing too special, maybe some old vent pipe. And getting a little crazy with the drone here, I decided to fly it underneath the tramway there. And thankfully we came out okay. So here's the old offices that got either blown over or knocked over by some rocks. And then, like I was talking about earlier with that chain link fence, here's another one right here. Chain link fence, got barbed wire around the top, and it's got that wooden pole sticking out in the middle. So more than likely this was the main source of electricity. Probably came in from a power line somewhere up above on the rim, and it just basically had a chain link fence around it and barbed wire just to keep people out of there so that they didn't get electrocuted, because I'm sure it was high voltage. And here's another look at the ore bins and the tramway, and we'll get a close-up look of the nice wood ladder here. And I definitely want to go back in the future and actually park on the trail up top and hike down to this area so that I can see what it looks like on foot. Planning to do that in December of 2025, so look forward to that video in the future. Now here is another look at the main entrance, and we'll pause it right here and see if we can brighten it up and see inside a little bit. Now, flying over to the Riverside Mine. Now, this was one of my favorites when I went here the first time because it has this awesome tram out to the ore bins, and when you go in this nice big entrance right here, it immediately splits left and right, and it has a really nice piece of wood infrastructure hanging from the ceiling. Now, this was part of the Riverside Mine that I forgot to film the first time when I was there, and you can see the ladder going up. Now, this is the main entrance that shows on the mine map from the previous video, and the bigger entrance before this is actually not on the map, which is kind of confusing. I'm curious why that is. And going back towards the ore bins here for the Riverside Mine, just taking a look down below them at the bottom on the ground just to see if there's anything cool. And then you can see the roadway there on the kind of going underneath it on the right. That's the road that I want to hike down to the next time I go and just view all this stuff up close. Looking on the other side to see if I can find anything there. Don't really see anything. There's a bunch of wood down below, but that's probably stuff that has fallen from up above. And here we are up on the rim, up above the Club No.2 Mine, which is directly below us. And down the road a little ways, there is actually there must have been an entrance here to the mine. I wouldn't really call it a shaft because looking down in there, so I'm going to shine the flashlight down. It's really not that far down there, maybe 10 or 15 feet. So this must have been easily accessible extra entrance to the mine below it. And here we are flying over another mine that I skipped when I came through here the first time. This one I do not have a name for, and it looks like it's the only mine in this area where they built wood structures to try and help keep the waste rock from flowing over the edge. I don't have a name or any information for this one. And if we pause right here straight ahead, that is where the mine entrance was. And then flying in a little closer. But this is where an old, basically where they dumped the ore carts over the edge. See the old rail and the woodworking. It's pretty cool. And flying up above where the mine entrance was. And again, you can see straight ahead, there's another one of those chain link fences That's where the high voltage line came in, and what's left of some of the buildings that were here and a concrete foundation. And we'll see those from the ground here in a second. We got out and walked around this one, and this mine actually had a lot to showcase as far as, you know, trash dumps and old stuff laying around, you know, what's left of buildings that have fallen over. It was pretty cool to get on the ground and see them. So here we are on the ground, walking towards the concrete foundation for the building. Piece of metal, not sure exactly what that's for. Some more random metal pieces. Looks like an old pallet. And then some, an old truss actually from the roof from the building that used to be here. I got some old hoses laying around, some old hydraulic hoses, more parts of the building. And then walking over to, again, the chain link fence with the barbed wire around it. More than likely used, you can see a stump out of the ground there from the pole. More than likely was from the high voltage supply. And I think this is part of the building that used to be on the concrete foundation, is kind of blown over the edge now. Some old canisters just laying around. Not sure what they were used for. And we've got an old antifreeze container here on the ground. Atlas Permagard antifreeze. And then here's up on the ore dump with the rail and the old woodworkings. Kind of falling apart now, in a little disarray. And the rail going back towards where the mine used to be. And now we're down below the ore dump. And then here's a marker from the state of Colorado to show where the mine used to be. You can see the pole right there, so it's all buried now and you can't get in anymore. Taking another look at the ore dump from the bottom. And there's a lid for something, I'm not sure what it is, that's kind of hanging out on the side here. If anybody knows what this is, definitely let me know in the comments. Looks like some sort of lid for something, but I'm not sure what. And some rail here, closer to the rim. Now this is where we started going. We actually found their trash dump, and we were kind of digging through it, and we found this old medicine bottle that was still intact. And the old paper seal that you would peel off to get the medicine out was actually still inside, just kind of flopping around in there. But you can see old shoes and a whole bunch of old cans. It's like an old pail. But this was definitely their garbage dump. And it's funny to me, when we find trash out on trails nowadays, you know, modern trash, plastic bottles and stuff, it's kind of disheartening to see, and you get mad at people that you know, are irresponsible and do that kind of thing. But you know, when we find old cans and stuff like this from historical places, it kind of hits different, you know. And here's some what we think was an old wood trailer that no longer has an axle on it. And then this looks like it was maybe a living quarters or something. There's an old exhaust manifold. But what's left of the building that was here. And we think it was the living quarters because, we'll show you here in a second, but there appears to be an outhouse up around the corner. There's an old box spring from an old mattress. And then back there in the back, you can see the outhouse kind of falling over. Here it is. I think this was the outhouse. It's hard to tell since it's all collapsed. And then my brother thought this was an entrance to the mine, but actually to me it looks like it was like a loading dock where you would back a truck up into this area right here, and then you could load stuff onto it from this back part. But there was a bunch of old trash thrown in here, old glass bottles that were still intact. Might be a milk bottle, I'm not sure. So here's kind of the grand finale for the mine viewing. So if you remember in my first video, this is actually part of the Fox Group mines. This is Fox No.1. And I actually was able to film with the drone some of the holes that I missed the first time. Now I could be wrong, but I don't know if that might be a rock sitting out front. It kind of looks like a dynamite box, but I'm pretty sure that's a rock. And then you see my brother waving at the drone. So he actually managed to find a way to get down next to the tram line that comes down from the top of the rim. And we'll have some on the ground footage from that here in a second. But here's a closer look at it and the mine entrance where it goes into. It also looks like there's some water pipe coming down from the top. And then flying back around the corner here to the entrance that's on the left side. And both of these entrances kind of go into the same area. And getting a look at the railway coming out of there. I think this was just used for a waste rock dump and has no more significance than that. Going back up the tramway here to the top. And this is part of the area where you can actually walk down to get into that mine entrance. Now I will say that this is private property and there are no trespassing signs hanging in the entrance of the mine. We thought that it was okay to walk down there and just check out the entrance, but we made sure to stay out of the mine itself. So here's a view of the tramway from the top. Actually looks like it would be quite fun, kind of roller coaster. So here we are down on the side looking at it up close. And then we'll walk down a little bit further and give you a better view from down below. And where it turns and goes into the mine. Now here's a look at the entrance to the mine. So like you see, no trespassing sign. So we decided that we would obey that and just stay out of the mine itself. But you can see that there is a shaft immediately in the entrance there. My brother threw a rock down and there's a hole down below that I forgot to film with the drone, but I think it goes down maybe 50 feet. It's not that deep, but it definitely would hurt if you fell in. So back around the corner, kind of above the Dolores mine and the Fox Group No.2 mines, there's this old trailer that looks like it burned to the ground. And has this nice old stove just kind of propped up outside. But we walked around here and tried to see if we could find anything that was significant. Here's a look at the trailer and what's left of it, everything around. And the old fridge or freezer that was just sitting out front. I don't know what brand it is. Here's a logo on top. If you know what brand it is based on that logo, definitely post it in the comments. An old chair and a can. I couldn't really see what it was. There wasn't really anything left of any wording on it. And I'm not sure how this piece of trim got over here in the rocks. And a look at what I think is the old flushing mechanism for the toilet that was in the trailer. Looks like a clutch pedal. An old mud flap for a truck. And here we are coming down the rim rocker, going back to the highway. And that would be it for the mine exploring on this one. Like I said, I do have plans to go back to this area in December, weather permitting. If it's cold, I think we can make do. But if it's snowy in this area, then I definitely will not be going back in December. So I will keep you guys updated on that, but definitely look forward to a new video from that in the near future. So thanks for joining me on this one, and we'll catch you guys in the next video. See ya.